Hi guys, welcome back to those of you who have been joining me on my new journey. For those of you who maybe just stumbled upon my video, hi, my name is Lori, and essentially I just took the leap to leave Manhattan, New York, to move to a very tiny farm, definitely lost in time in Bulgaria. And I've pretty much just been recording my new life since then. Easter, it's one of the most exciting things that I've experienced since moving to Bulgaria because it's just so much different than what we used to do back home in America. Now, the overall holiday is pretty similar. I mean, we paint eggs, break the eggs, you eat lamb and all of that. However, all of the preparations and just the overall feeling you get, plus all of the Bulgarian traditions that are woven into it, makes Easter, in my opinion, just so much more than what we used to have back home. And I'm not saying that Bulgarian Easter is more exciting than anyone else's Easter. Just we back home were just my mom, my sister, and I, just the three of us. You can't help but feel lonely when it's just the three of you, knowing that your entire family is back home. I don't know how many of you guys have family abroad or maybe in different states or wherever you're from. It really makes a difference when you have 20 people of your closest loved ones versus just the three of you. And alongside family and friends, the village itself just gives off old traditional vibes. It's completely different than just being in your apartment in New York and hearing the honking in the cars and everyone doing their daily routine, as opposed to being on the farm when everyone is synchronized and celebrating together. When there is a holiday, you feel how the entire village is united and together. Now, just really quickly before we go on, I do want to let everybody know that in Bulgaria, Easter is heavily revolved around lamb. And on our farm, every family gets their own lamb and roasts the lamb whole on a spit. So I just wanted to let people know that this is going to be some of the stuff I'm going to be showing. I'm not going to be showing you any of the preparations, but I am going to be showing the whole lamb roasting on a spit. I don't know if there's anyone out there who maybe is vegan or vegetarian and just doesn't really want to see stuff like this, but I wanted to give you a fair warning beforehand. I don't think it's anything graphic, honestly, but everyone has their own feelings and opinions. Now, time for the fun part. The first thing you guys probably notice is how much greener it is. Yes, I've been getting a lot of requests of people wanting to see the farm when it's green in the summer. So voila, and it's beautiful, isn't it? You can see we started planting our little lettuces, our tomatoes. It's just life is coming back. I'm going to make separate videos throughout the summer showing you how the seasons progress and all of the beautiful things that come with each season. But for now, let's just stick to Easter. Easter in Bulgaria starts days before. The preparations take days. This is the first thing that really caught my attention and was completely different than in America, because in the US, our preparations would be pretty much like the day before. We'd go buy the lamb. My mom would secretly, I guess for my mom would be a few days before, because she would go and buy little plastic eggs and candies for us to search for. But that's pretty much it. You just buy the products, and then the painting of the eggs like the day before, and then the actual holiday. In Bulgaria, this is not the case, at least not for our family on this farm. Again, we were a group of about 20 people, which you could imagine may possibly lead to chaos, but that wasn't the case at all. Everyone just seemed to know what they're supposed to do. Everyone pitched in. Nobody was idle. My main job essentially was to do the decorations, and I hope you guys like them, and run around asking our neighbors for eggs because we ran out. Once I managed to gather about 35 eggs, we began painting them with the kids. And the way we do it in Bulgaria, I'm not sure how it is with you guys, but we gather leaves and different pretty plants. We stick them onto the egg before we put dye, put a stocking over it to hold the leaf in place, and then tighten it very tight, dip it into the dye. And this way, once you untie the stocking after it's fully dry, you have the most beautiful designs. don't know if you guys know, but the majority of Bulgaria is Eastern Orthodox. So we have a couple of traditions that go along with that when it comes to Easter. For example, egg dyeing is supposed to be done the Thursday before Easter Sunday. If you can't do Thursday, then you can do it on Saturday. Traditionally, the first egg is always supposed to be red. It symbolizes the blood of Jesus Christ and prosperity of your family, and you're supposed to save it until next year. And yes, this egg you see here in the cup is from last year. If the egg is still good by next year, meaning when you shake it, you hear the little yolk inside rattling around. That's a great thing. It means you're going to be having a prosperous spring, prosperous rebirth of the seasons. The harvest is going to be great. Basically, everything is in good shape. If you get unlucky and your egg starts smelling or bursts for whatever reason, then just get rid of it as quick as possible because it is the most disgusting smell in the world. Now, while the youngsters work on the eggs and decorations and all of that, the older women get together and begin working on the long and very meticulous process of making all of the dough products. This delicious thing you see right here is called kuzunak. It's essentially sweet bread. I think you can compare it to challah bread in the States. And what I'm going to tell you is it is not easy to make. You have to beat the dough as much as possible so that it becomes this thick, dense consistency, and then you have to let it rise. Everyone does it differently, but we let it rise for about 5 to 6 hours. Traditionally on Easter, we make it into a braid, 3 braids, and then we put the braids together. You can also put chocolate inside, as you can see we did here. I don't know which way I like better. I think they're both equally amazing. Oh, and if you think you're getting away with just making one, I've got some bad news. Not the case. Everything you do is times 5 because you're not only feeding 20 people, but you're also going to be sharing all of this with the entire village. So yes, Easter morning, when everyone gets up and goes to church, they bring the kuzunak, and I'll show you all of the other sweets and the eggs and anything else they've made, and share it with the villagers, with each other, as a demonstration of unity, prosperity, and overall love for one another. Another very traditional sweet we make on Easter is called kurabiki, which are like little cookies, and you also bring those to church to give away to people. My grandma would make these for me regularly when I was little, so I love them. Not too sweet, but they're still sweet. They're fluffy. They're just perfect. Now, while the women are busy working their magic on the sweets, the morning of Easter, the men get up bright and early, and I mean like 4 a.m., to go fetch the lamb. For those of you who have joined me in my previous videos, you'll have heard me talk about chivarme. This is exactly what we do here, which is the most traditional way of cooking lamb. Easter is just not Easter without chivarme. I usually prefer to go along with them. I find myself better with the quote-unquote boy stuff than I do with the cooking and with dough and all of that. But traditionally speaking, it is more of a boy's job. They get up early in the morning, they fetch the lamb, and bring back the lamb for us to begin cooking. The preparation process is not an easy one. Remember, we have to get the entire lamb on a spit in order to start roasting it. Not an easy task. Once thoroughly cleaned out, the lamb is then seasoned with a bunch of Bulgarian spices and put on the spit and prepared for roasting. The roasting process required that somebody stayed behind and had the fire going because we do this in the yard. We do have a special place to do this, but we just prefer the yard because it's much more traditional and it's just more fun. And this is where the guys start getting very serious and showing off who is the better lamb roaster. They're very funny when they do this. Everyone has a different technique. Everyone thinks that their technique is the best. Some people like to wrap the belly in tin foil so that the juices don't leak out. Others prefer to spin slower, others faster. It's just a very serious part of the day and no one can disturb them. No, I'm just kidding. With all due respect to them, it really is a tough business because somebody has to stay there and spin. We do have a special motor that can spin for us, but it is more fun when you do it yourself. Here is a lovely picture of my 16-year-old self spinning the lamb at a chevreme we did at the river while the boys were off playing, catching frogs. I don't know what they were doing. Did I mention that it takes 5 to 6 hours to cook? You may be wondering, now, is that all we eat, chevreme and eggs and salad? Well, no. The next thing that we make is called drop sarma, which is essentially all of the innards of the lamb, and you cook it with rice and green onion. Now, I'm not a specialist at this, the older women do this, but I do know that traditionally it is supposed to be wrapped in something called bulu. This is a thin membrane found below the gut of the lamb, so as you can tell, nothing is thrown away. I mean, literally nothing. It's very difficult to make drop sarma in the casing. Not many people do it anymore. My grandma, Baba Vera, used to do it, and I'm really upset at myself. I can't find any photos. Just imagine what you see in the photos wrapped in a casing that when cooked and you cut it is crispy, similar to a sausage casing. Now that you have the main courses ready, next up is the salad, and it is everything that you picked from your garden. Remember that at the end of the day, we are celebrating rebirth. Every holiday here pretty much comes from old pagan holidays. So the rebirth, our gardens are finally starting to be reborn themselves, so we can start picking some beautiful vegetables and fruits. At the moment, we have the lettuces starting to come out. So we usually do green salad with green onions, and don't forget the radishes, very important. Usually on a table in Bulgaria, you're going to have shopska salata or ovcharska salata, which is tomatoes and cucumbers with Bulgarian cheese. I think in America they call it feta cheese. Ovcharska salata is the same thing, except you add corn, ham, mushrooms, a little bit of peppers, and all of that. Okay, great. So main courses are served, salad is served, time for the drinks. Easter is just not Easter without some homemade wine. As you sip on last year's batch, you can gaze upon the beautiful espa or grapevine starting to flourish once again. You can really feel the festivities and positive vibes just emanating all around you. I think it's safe to say that the table is pretty much set and we are ready to go. There are a few other things that are on the table, but those are the main traditional dishes. And if by any chance you somehow are still hungry, throughout the day, the older women, the grandmas, are baking so that while we're doing the preparations, we don't somehow go hungry. There is nothing more comforting than waking up to a warm, buttery banitsa in the morning, another very traditional Bulgarian food. If you guys want, I can make a whole video just on that. It is delicious. Do you guys remember how I said that we go to church every morning on Easter and share what we've made with the village? Well, these are just a few of the things alongside the eggs that everyone shares with each other. And there becomes a secret comparison of whose kuzunak is better, whose banitsa is better. No one says it with words, but it's there. And in the best way possible. It's nothing serious. It's for fun. But it's definitely something that is very fun to watch, all of the grandmas kind of competing with each other secretly. So to tie everything together in one little bundle, essentially you start preparing days before, you get up, you go to church, the guys go get the lamb, you start preparing the lamb. Finally, you sit down around lunchtime and feast after you've shared with the village all of your baked goods and eggs. And then after the feast, you definitely have to go lie down for a siesta. There is no question there. After your siesta, you get up, you go for a nice walk in the beautiful green village around you and the green nature that's all around. And then the parties begin once again at night and pretty much continue for the next couple of days. And that pretty much wraps up Easter. There are more things that, of course, keep popping into my mind, but I think I gave you guys a pretty good taste of what goes on. Thank you guys so much for joining me for the holiday. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, if you could like and subscribe, it just really means the world to me. I want to keep these videos coming. I hope you guys like them. My life is just so different now compared to city life before, and I think it's pretty cool to be able to share it with all of you. So thanks again, and I hope to see you guys next time.